All right, 52 minutes left on my phone. I'll probably end this in 30 minutes here. Let me adjust this camera here. Hope you guys can see the board well. Right. So I'm going to reiterate what I said. So unlike Lord of the Rings, I'll follow 70% of the book, whereas Peter Jackson only followed. Even though the Lord of the Rings series was amazing, it's an amazing adaptation. The only flaw I would say that's in the movie is that they weren't as faithful to the book, obviously, because Peter Jackson only followed like 20% of the story. Right. So unlike Lord of the Rings, I'll follow 70% of the book. That way, I remain faithful to the Last of Us stories. I don't want to go on. I don't want to go off into what I don't want to I don't want to steer away from the core of the story. Hence why I'm going to follow 70% of the story. I will add 30% of scenes, details, and dialogue to the movie to make it more interesting. Hence why Last of Us will be the best story ever told in motion picture. One of, not the best story ever told in motion picture. The first reason, Last of Us is more faithful to the book than Lord of the Rings, as Peter Jackson only followed like 20-25% of the book, man. I'm not kidding around. Read the books and watch the movie. You'll finally see what I'm saying here. A lot of characters and dialogue is cut out, man. Especially the dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue that's in the book that's just cut out from the movie, man. As well as scenes too. A lot of scenes too, obviously. The second reason is it is a better written story than Lord of the Rings, and the third reason is it will be the most expensive movie ever made. Hence why it'll be better than Lord of the Rings. You're looking at better action scenes than Lord of the Rings. Better what? Better fighting and more unheard of horror. As the orcs in Lord of the Rings are not even that scary. They're pretty frightening, obviously, the orcs. But the orcs, Lord of the Rings is a PG-13 movie, whereas my movie is rated R. There's sex in it and everything. And that's why it's a deeper story, obviously. Hence why it's a better story, obviously. Right? Right? So Last Hope for Xanus. The Last Hope for Xanus movie, obviously, will have what? Will have better world building, obviously. World building than what? Than Lord of the Rings. Right? Right? It will have better what? Better world building. You're looking at an 8K world, man. 8K world. I'm going to put that here. Right? It will have better what? Better action sequences, obviously. Better action sequences than Lord of the Rings, obviously. You're looking at something unheard of. Than Lord of the Rings. And what? It will have what? Unheard of horror. Much scarier than Lord of the Rings. Much scarier than what? Than the orcs. Orcs, a Balrog, right? I'm spelling it wrong here. A Balrog, obviously, ring race. It will have what? It will have unheard of horror, much scarier than the orcs, Orcai, a Balrog, and the ring race. Obviously. Love unheard of horror. Hence why what? Hence why Xanus will what? Will be a better movie, obviously. And don't forget, technology now has gotten better since then, obviously. Because Lord of the Rings was made in the early 2000s. You got amazing world building and action scenes like that. Well, imagine in the early 2020s, technology has gotten so much better, and I'm putting $9.7 million towards the movie. Almost $380 million towards special effects. $380 million towards special effects. World building, action scenes, and the horror of the wolves and bats. You also have the unheard of set building, obviously. Hence why Xanus will be what? A better movie, obviously. If done right. I'm going to keep saying that. If done right. If it's not done right, it will not be better than Lord of the Rings. I'm going to keep saying that. Right? If it's done right. Right? So Last of Us movie will have better world building, 8K world, than Lord of the Rings. It will have better action sequences than Lord of the Rings. And it will have unheard of horror, much scarier than the orcs, Orcai, Balrog, and the ring race. If you thought the ring race were creepy, the ring race were pretty creepy. In the Fellowship of the Ring, when Frodo gets stabbed by what? By the poisonous blade. Remember when you saw those? Remember when you saw the ring rays? That was pretty creepy. Remember Abel Rock, the demon in Moria, right? That Ganondorf. Abel Rock was pretty creepy, obviously. You also have the orcs and the Orcai. The Orcai in Two Towers, the Alhamsi Boar, were pretty freaky. Well, imagine beings 3 times scarier than that for the wolves and the bats. Right? Imagine that. You also have the cursed demon ancestors. So imagine something 3 times scarier than the Exorcist, scarier than the orcs, the Balrog, the Ringwraiths, the Witch King of Angmar, in the Return of the King. Imagine what? Imagine what? Imagine being scarier than all those beings. Hence why Last of Us will be a better movie than Lord of the Rings if you put a lot of money into it and you write a good script. Obviously. Let's talk about length here. Right? Let's talk about length. Right? Length. Last Hope for Xanus will be what? About a 12-hour movie. Right? Lord of the Rings is what? A 9-hour movie, right? About a 9-hour movie. It's a 9-hour movie. But it is what? It is a longer book series. All right. Now, why is Xanus longer? Why will Xanus be longer, okay? Why will Last Hope of Xanus be longer? Why will Last Hope of Xanus be longer? Well, I'll tell you the first reason, right? I will follow 70% of the story. Whereas Lord of the Rings, they only follow 20%. They only follow what? Whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed 20% of the story. Hence why the movie was only 9 hours long. If Peter Jackson followed the book, 70% of the book, you're looking at a 6-movie series. It'd be fucking. You're looking at a 20-hour movie series. It'd be fucking long, honestly. 18, 20-hour movie series, right? So why will Last of Us be longer than Lord of the Rings? First reason is because I will follow 70% of the story. The second reason, whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed 20% of the book. I'm not kidding around. I don't mean to be rude, but read the books and watch the movies. There's a lot of scenes and dialogues and characters that are cut out, man. So I'll follow 70% of the story, whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed about 20% of the book. Right. Hence why Last of Us will be long. Because I'm actually going to follow 70%. Whereas if I follow 20% of my book, it'd probably be a 5-hour, 6-hour movie series. If I follow 20% of my book. Because I'm following 70% of my book, you're looking at a 12-hour movie. 12-hour movie. Whereas Lord of the Rings was 9 hours. So why will Last of Us be longer? I will follow 20% of the story, 70% of the story. Whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed about what? About 30% of the book, obviously. I will also add 30% to the movie. 30% more what? More scenes, dialogue, right? More scenes, dialogue to the what? To the movie, obviously. To make it more interesting. See what I'm saying here? Hence why Last of Us will be long. You're probably looking at a 15-hour movie, and the editors are going to have to condense it down to 12 hours. You're looking at something fucking long, because I'm actually going to follow 70% of the story. As most adaptations, they only follow like 50% of the story. 50, 60% of the story. Well, I'm going to follow 70% of the story, and I'm also adding 30% to scenes and dialogue to make it more interesting, honestly. So my Last of Us movie, even though my Last of Us book is not longer than Lord of the Rings, the movie will be longer than Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings, they only follow 20% of the book, hence why the movie was only 9 hours for the three movies. Whereas I'm going to follow 70% of the book, hence why you're looking at a 12-hour movie, and I'm also adding 30% more details. So remember that Last of Us is a shorter series than Lord of the Rings. The book is a shorter trilogy than Lord of the Rings, and yet the movie will be longer than Lord of the Rings because I'm actually following 7% of the story, whereas Peter Jackson only followed 20% of the book. Hence why you only had a 9.5 hour movie for the three what? You had a 9 to 10 hour movie, around there. A 9 to 10 hour movie, whereas my movie you're looking at 12 hours, man. It looks like fucking long. Right. So Last of Us will be about 12 hours. It'll be about a 12-hour movie. Lord of the Rings is a 9 to 10 hour movie, but it is a longer book. Don't forget that. Why will Last of Us be longer? It's because I'll follow 70% of the story, whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed about what? About 20% of the book, man. I'm not kidding around. Read the books and watch the movies. It's a huge difference, man. There's a lot of scenes that are not in the movie and dialogue, right? Whereas Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson only followed about 20% of the book. I'll also add 30% more scenes and dialogue to the movie to make it more interesting. Right? It's actually cool to mention that, honestly. Interesting video, huh? You guys better fucking enjoy this series while you can, because once I'm king, I'm piecing the fucking wife this. Once I find out how wicked you are, and late October, I'll be making the announcement. I'll let my family know. Once I find out how wicked you are and you try me to share your death, I choose death. I'm not going to do my that. Once I pay my dues, and now I'm a billionaire, multi-billionaire, my wife, I'm going to live my life, and you can live your life. And I'm going to start Scotch. I'm going to make that amazing Last of Us movie where you guys will all be left behind. And those lucky chosen actors, what? They will what? They'll be saved, obviously. Here's some similarities. The actors chosen for Last Hope for Xanus are perfect for the role, obviously. For the role. Just like the actors for what? For Lord of the Rings were perfect for the role, obviously. I'm not kidding around. Lord of the Rings is the one movie. Lord of the Rings, I'll say this. Lord of the Rings is the one movie whereby what? The actors chosen were perfect for the role. I'm not kidding around. You can't picture anyone else besides those characters. Lord of the Rings is the one movie whereby the actors chosen for the role were perfect for the role. Right? So the actors chosen for Last of Us are perfect for the role, just like I always forget to write stuff, man. Just like the actors chosen for Lord of the Rings were perfect for the role, as Lord of the Rings is the one movie whereby the actors chosen for the role were perfect for the role. So if you watch the Lord of the Rings series, Lord of the Rings is the one series that you can say, oh my god, all these actors that Peter Jackson chose for the movie, they were all perfect for the role. Whereas all the actors I chose from Last of Us movie, they're all perfect for the role. I gave you an example of the actor for Takis the First. You saw that picture with him and Thor, right? Now you guys understand why he's perfect for my father for the movie, obviously. The actor for Job, who voiced Gollum, you guys now all get an idea why he's perfect for Job, obviously. Right? Whereas the actors chosen for Takis the First is perfect for Takis the First, because I know what I'm doing, obviously. But the actors chosen for Last of Us are perfect for the role, just like the actors chosen for Lord of the Rings were perfect for the role, as Lord of the Rings is the one movie whereby the actors chosen for the role were perfect for the role, as you cannot picture what? As you cannot picture any other actor, right, playing that role, because they were perfect for the role, obviously. See what I'm saying here? They were perfect for the role. I keep saying that. So the actors chosen for Last of Us are perfect for the role, just like the actors chosen for Last of Us for Lord of the Rings were perfect for the role. Like Elijah Wood was perfect for Frodo, right? Austin, whatever his name is, I forget his name. Sean Austin was perfect for what? For what? For Samwise Gamgee. Billy Boyd was perfect for Pippin, right? Dominic Monaghan, whatever his name is, he was perfect for what? For Merry. Viggo Mortensen was perfect for what? For Aragorn. You know what I'm saying? Orlando Bloom was perfect for Legolas. You know what I'm saying? Ian McKellen was perfect for Gandalf. You can't, no, but you can't picture any other actor playing that role because those actors were so perfect for the role, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Liv Taylor was perfect for Arwen. You know what I'm saying? Just like those actors were perfect for the role, all the actors I chose for Xanus are all perfect for the role. Once you read the book, you'll see what I mean. You're going to be like, oh my god, all the actors I haven't chosen are perfect for the role. And once I adapt to the books and you see the characters brought to life, you're going to be like, oh my god, all these actors I haven't chosen are all perfect for the role. Yeah, because I know what I'm doing, obviously. Right? Let's talk about release. The movie release, obviously. Right? So Lord of the Rings was released on theaters, what, year by year, for what? For the 3 movies, obviously. Right? Whereas Last Hope for Xanus will be released in what? In 4K Blu-ray, obviously. I'll say this. Whereas Last Hope for Xanus, all 3 what? All 3 volumes will be what? Released at the same time, obviously. Same time on what? On 4K Blu-ray. On Amazon, obviously. Right? So the Lord of the Rings movie release, obviously, Lord of the Rings was released on theaters year by year for the 3 movies. So when Lord of the Rings was released, they released the movies year by year. They released Fellowship of the Ring year by year. Then the following year they released Two Towers. In the following year they released Return of the King. Whereas Last of Xanus, all 3 volumes will be released at the same time in a box set on 4K Blu-ray on Amazon. So I can easily release my volumes year by year, but I don't want to keep the fans waiting. Yes, it's more money for me and my wife, obviously, if we release it year by year, but I don't want to keep the fans waiting. Hence why I'm just going to release it all at once in a 3-movie box set. That way you don't keep the fans waiting. And because I'm going to sell my posters separately for movies, I'll make more money. I'll make more money off my movie, obviously. And I'm also gonna have my movie in subtitles for the Chinese market, South Korean market, Japanese market, Russia, French, France, Quebec, in Canada, Spanish, and Mexico. That way, me and my wife can make more money. As me and my wife, we're gonna make a good $4 billion off the movie with the posters and the movie sales. Because if I release it in other subtitles for the Chinese market, the Russian market, French market, the Spanish market, me and my wife are gonna make like $3 billion off the movies, and we're gonna make like $1 billion off the posters, and so we're gonna make like $4 billion off the movie, obviously. And if I release the volumes year by year, yeah, me and my wife will make more money, obviously, release year by year. But if we do that, you're gonna keep the fans waiting, and for my movies, you don't want to keep the fans waiting. Hence why I'm just gonna release all 3 volumes. All 3 volumes will be released at the same time. So Lord of the Rings, they released the movies year by year on theaters for the 3 movies. Whereas Last of Xanus, all 3 volumes will be released at the same time in a box set. So it'll be coming in a box set, obviously. A 4K Blu-ray, a 4K Blu-ray box set. And I'm also selling the posters, obviously. Selling the posters after production is finished. So a couple months before the movie's release, I'm gonna have the posters for purchase or release for purchase on Amazon. I'll be selling the posters after production is finished. Because Amazon's gonna tell me, hey Ivan, I recommend you sell the posters separately for your movie. That way we make more. Both parties make more money, obviously. As I'm gonna make a good, I don't know, $1 billion off the posters. So once production's finished, I'm gonna let Amazon know I'm gonna release the posters for purchase on Amazon for the world to buy. You're looking at a good $80 to $100 for 6 posters around there. You're looking at top-notch posters you can hang. Hence, those posters become so sacred, obviously, for the world to buy. That way, when the red carpet event happens, the actors can sign the autographs on the posters for the fans, obviously. Right. And Amazon's gonna let me and wife know, yeah, and I recommend you release your posters before you release your movie. That way you make more money. They're even gonna recommend I release my movies year by year, but I don't want to release my movies year by year because I don't want to keep the fans waiting. And I also don't want to wait. I don't want to wait a year for the next volume to release. No, I'm gonna release all 3 volumes at the same time on a 4K Blu-ray on Amazon. And it's gonna be coming in a 4K Blu-ray box set. So that's the difference between Lord of the Rings and Last of Us. Even though Lord of the Rings is one story told in 3 movies. And xanus is one story told in 3 movies. Lord of the Rings, the movies were released in theaters. They're released in theaters, obviously. They're released on theaters year by year for the 3 movies. Whereas Last of Us xanus, all 3 volumes will be released at the same time on 4K Blu-ray on Amazon, on a 4K Blu-ray box set. You're looking at some top-notch my box set. And I'll be selling the posters after production is finished on Amazon, obviously, for the world to buy. And I'm also going to be selling xanus. My movie xanus will be, I'll have it in Chinese subtitles, Japanese subtitles, French subtitles, Spanish subtitles. That way what? That way what? The non-English speaking world, some of the non-English speaking world, because China's a huge market for movies, obviously. So we're selling the posters after production is finished on Amazon for the world to buy, obviously. And hence the world will be excited, obviously, right? The posters will build excitement for the world. It's cool to see me and my wife and the actors looking like badass movie stars on our posters. That builds excitement for the world. And you also have the documentary, obviously. Hence why what? The world will be excited. For what? For the movie, obviously. For the movie release. See what I'm saying here? 22 minutes here. Almost done this video. Right? I'm going to say this. If you thought The Lord of the Rings movie trilogy, obviously, right? Movie trilogy had crazy buzz for what? The last hope for xanus you're looking at what? 3 times the buzz. The buzz of what? Of Lord of the Rings. When it was what? Released on theaters. Released in the theaters, obviously, right? I'm not kidding around. If you thought the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy had crazy buzz. I remember when Lord of the Rings came out on theaters. I saw Fellowship of the Ring on theaters, and I saw what? I saw Return of the King on theaters. I didn't see Two Towers on theaters. But I remember when I saw the movies on theaters, and you had that crazy buzz, obviously. This is when I was, what, like 11, 12 years old, 10 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, whatever it is. If you thought the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy had crazy buzz for Last of Us xanus, you're looking at 3 times the buzz of Lord of the Rings when it was first released in the theaters. So Lord of the Rings is, you can argue, is one of the most popular movies. After Star Wars, you can argue Lord of the Rings is the second most popular movie series franchise. If you thought that buzz was crazy when Lord of the Rings first came out, think something 3 times after Last of Us xanus, you're looking at something fucking crazy. You're looking at worldwide international fame. You're looking at something fucking crazy, man. You're looking at worldwide national fame. Lord of the Rings had crazy worldwide fame too, but it's more side fame, obviously. As the movies, all movies did almost $1 billion, and you got crazy fame like that in the early 2000s. Picture something 3 times after Last of Us Is, as Last of Us is a better story, obviously. Once you read the book, you'll see what I mean. Right, at the same time as Ivan's first movie and VJ's first movie. At the same time, it's the most expensive movie ever made, unheard of world building, unheard of action sequences, and you also have the horror of the devil beings of Eritati feasts and devil wolves and bats, and the cursed demon ancestors, obviously. The devils, the cursed demon devil ancestors, you also have that. You're looking at unheard of fame and buzz, crazier than even Lord of the Rings. So you're looking at crazy, unheard of 3 times the buzz for what? For the movie, and what? And 3 times the buzz for what? For the book too, obviously. As when Lord of the Rings had what? As Lord of the Rings what? Has crazy buzz, obviously. As the Lord of the Rings book has crazy buzz, obviously. And from my book, you're looking at buzz 3 times that. Right? And 3 times the buzz for the book as what? Lord of the Rings has what? Crazy what? Buzz for the book, obviously. Everyone around the world a lot of people around the world have read the book, obviously. Lord of the Rings has crazy buzz for the what? For the book. And yet Last of Us Age, you're looking at buzz 3 times for my book, and even crazier buzz for the movie. As the world will go crazy about my book, obviously, but they're going to go even crazier about the movie because now I'm bringing the world to life and I'm acting in, obviously. Because I'm acting in the movie, it's going to build so much buzz for you're looking at crazy buzz. And once the world reads my book, they're never going to be the same. Obviously. That's why Last of Us Age, you're looking at something fucking crazy for my buzz. You're looking at buzz crazier than Lord of the Rings, man. Right? I'm going to say this. Once the what? Once the world reads my Last Hope for Xanus book, they will what? They will never be the same. And no book will be able to beat Last Hope for Xanus. That's how what? That's how good it is, man. I don't need to be cocky. I'm just telling you here, man. I've read my book very many times. Last Hope for Xanus is that fucking good. That's how good what? My book is, man. That's how good it is. And you're looking at crazy buzz for the book sales, worldwide fame. So me and my wife would experience worldwide fame for the book sales, obviously, and even crazier fame for the movie, obviously. So once the world reads my Last Hope for Xanus book, they will never be the same, and no book will be able to beat it. And no book will be able to beat Last Hope for Xanus. We'll be able to beat what? Last Hope for Xanus. That's how good my book is, man. It is an unbeatable book. It is an unbeatable. It is an unbeatable story. That's all I'm going to say. That it is an unbeatable story. That's how good Last Hope for Xanus is. Unbeatable. As what? I'll say this. I've read what? Lord of the Rings. And J.R.R. Tolkien did not keep me hooked the way Xanus does. I don't mean to be disrespectful. J.R.R. Tolkien, the legend, I respect him. Lord of the Rings is the best fantasy novel ever written. I'm enjoying Two Towers quite a bit. A lot of sections are boring, but I'm enjoying the book quite a bit. But I've read Lord of the Rings, and J.R.R. Tolkien did not keep me hooked the way Xanus does. Hence why Xanus is a better story, obviously. It's a better book. It's a better fantasy book, obviously. It's a better fantasy book. because it keeps you more. Read Lord of the Rings and read Last of Us Xanus. Last of Us Xanus will keep you hooked a lot more than Lord of the Rings. I've read Fellowship of the Ring. I'm finishing Two Towers right now. The book is amazing world building. Some sections are pretty boring because he drags on. He spends like a couple pages describing the sunset and Lazon stuff. Whereas my book, but Lord J.R. Tolkien did not keep me hooked the way Xanus does. Hence why Last of Us Xanus is a better fantasy book than what? Than J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. So once the world reads my book, they will never be the same, as no book will be able to beat Last of Us Xanus. That's how good my book is, and it is what? An unbeatable story. I've read Lord of the Rings, and J.R. Tolkien did not keep me hooked the way Xanus does. Obviously. Did not keep me hooked the way Xanus does. Hence why Last of Us Xanus is a better fantasy book. I don't mean to be cocky, I'm just telling you, I've read Lord of the Rings, I bought the series, I'm reading the series right now. It's an amazing series. Some sections are pretty boring, obviously, but J.R. Tolkien did not keep me hooked the way Last of Us Xanus does. Hence why Last of Us Xanus is a better fantasy book, obviously. And hence why I'm going to be called the next modern Tolkien. Because Xanus is that fucking good. Let's see. Show my camera off here.